What's up? Welcome to Startup X Gaming News Podcast. I'm your host, Sik Sensei. Joining me today is Mr. Sean Zulu.
And you ain't got to guess who's back, son.
You can follow us on Twitter. Tweet at us. I'm at the number 2 Sik TV, and you're at Sean Zulu?
With the underscore.
Oh.
Sean underscore. How dare you? How dare you forget the underscore? You son of a bitch. Sean underscore Zulu.
Last week, we missed the episode. We weren't able to record, but this week, we are back with a vengeance. And having some fun, drinking some beers right outside of New Orleans, and we're just doing our thing. This week, last week we missed it, right? We put it on the agenda. We just ran a little bit close on time. This week we definitely want to get into what absolutely blew my mind was Grand Theft Auto 5 Online.
Yeah.
So I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for this trailer to come out. I was not expecting what I saw there, right? Grand Theft Auto Online has just been kind of this online thing. I'm talking about Grand Theft Auto 4 and any previous game. It's just kind of been like a shooter, and they're great. They're good. But what I saw with this trailer just freaking put my brain on the floor. I had to scoop it up with a shovel.
Well, what was the one thing you seen that really kind of made your brain hit the floor?
Well, probably the content creator. When you give people, because if it's one of those things when you give people the opportunity to create something in that world, in a world like that. And I don't know how deep the content creator is. I don't know how many tools they're being given. It is Rockstar. You know it's going to be good. That type of thing right there. Content creator, game type creator. You know what people are going to do with that?
I hope some amazing stuff.
And that's what blew my mind. When I saw stuff like that, when I saw the cooperative missions, the free to explore and just work around this world, I mean, that's what's hitting home these days, and compete against one another in these little mini games of competition, and it's just so many things going on, and you could just have fun. They had one spot in the trailer where you can drive a dirt bike up a cliff and then parasail your way down.
Yeah, they had a gang of people parachuting down,
doing that together. I mean,
yeah, but you talk about the content creator, and I kind of see that as something that I don't know if they're biting off more than they can chew with that, but they did state in the trailer that Rockstar themselves will be constantly creating content for this online thing. Because here's the important part. We know that Grand Theft Auto 5 is one giant amazing thing, and Grand Theft Auto Online is what Rockstar considers a separate entity.
Essentially, yeah.
So on launch day, you don't even get Grand Theft Auto Online. It comes out. What is it? 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later.
And that's
I want to say it's free to anyone who buys the other version. So even though it's its own entity, if you buy the retail version, which I'm hoping if you buy the download version at full cost, you will be able to get the online version. And that's kind of a different way to go around the online pass situation, right? Just release your multiplayer separately. If you think it's a robust enough multiplayer, if you got faith that it's going to hold up and it's worth it, then release it separately. Then anybody who buys your game used can't touch the multiplayer.
Right. I think that's a perk for them in differentiating the two because of the used game sales thing. But I think more importantly, what's really happening is they've made such a fuss about Grand Theft Auto 5 being this gen. It's not going to next gen. But now we introduce this separate entity of Grand Theft Auto Online. I got a feeling that Grand Theft Auto Online will show up for next gen. And it'll be one of those things that, you know how Call of Duty and Battlefield has said, you'll transfer all your stuff to the next gen. I got a feeling we'll see that. They haven't said that yet, but I got a feeling that's where they're going.
I don't know about Grand Theft Auto 5 Online. Is it? I don't think it's kind of like the Battlefield stuff. I mean, it's an online persistent world.
Right.
I mean, even though it's kind of a 16-player setup, it's a little weird how it's working, but it looks like, and this is the other piece that really blew my mind and put it under the floor where I couldn't get it back, was when I started to let everything settle in, when I started to let everything kind of sink in, everything I just saw, and start to understand what was going on the screen in front of me, because it was a lot. Short trailer, ton of information. When I started to let it all sink in, I started to understand that this looks like this could become an MMO.
I think that's what they're kind of aiming at, but it's not going to be considered MMO.
I mean, there's missions
by the MMO crowd. This is kind of like MMO light for people who are hardcore gamers who like Grand Theft Auto to get a taste of that MMO world.
I don't think, and a lot of people, a lot of the news, they're saying, Grand Theft Auto MMO, and that sounds cool to me, but I think this is I think this setup here may hit that threshold that the Grand Theft Auto player is going to be able to appreciate. Anything more, and you're going to maybe lose a little bit of your audience. You know what I mean? Like, you throwing a lot at them. Like I said, short trailer, an absolute ton of information that it took me time to process. Now, if it takes me time to process what happened on the screen in a matter of a minute and a half, 2 minutes, like, you know, think about how much is actually going on in the game. Like, that was just a trailer. That's not even all of it. No, try to put even more than that and make it an MMO. Like, people aren't, like, the general Grand Theft Auto player, I don't think, and I'm not trying to discount what they're capable of or anything like that. I'm just thinking that that audience is not prone to a massively multiplayer online situation that you may have to pay monthly or things like that. That's just too much. In my opinion, it's too much. It's too much for me.
Yeah.
You know? And I think they're right on the money with this 16 player online persistent world that you just work with friends.
Yeah.
And I think they're hitting the nail on the head, dude.
Well, the thing that blew me away is they clearly stated it's a persistent world. And, like I said, Rockstar, you know, they clearly stated also that they will be producing new content for
constantly.
This a lot. And see, that's something that all these games that have came out, and with the power of the cloud and the ability to update these games, you know, when your console is connected, has been something that I wish that more developers would maximize the power of that. And that's why I'm thinking that this will transfer to next gen. But it's like a game like Skyrim. They came out with just a few expansion packs. That game could have went forever, and they could have made money on top of money on top of money.
Stacks on stacks.
And, you know, I favor the Grand Theft Auto world more than Skyrim, but I just, man, that shit just, it seems almost too good to be true. And also, this game, that, like, seeing that multiplayer made me just realize, why am I getting a next gen console? Because this shit looks like, you know, like this is this gen that this is happening. Yeah. And it really makes you reconsider, like, wait, I'm about to go drop, you know, close to $1,000 to go into next gen when this is happening on my Xbox 360, on my PlayStation 3. Like, you know, it's a little. I
don't know if you could drop $1,000.
Well, you know, you got hundreds of dollars in the entry cost. You need games. You know, I'm saying you're getting close to $1,000.
Yeah, maybe in the ballpark. I just wanted to, you know, kind of touch on that, but I don't know, man. This, you say it may transcend generations, and maybe the online piece, being that it's segregated.
I'm going to say it here. That's what's going to happen. You're going to see Grand Theft Auto Online on the next gen.
I disagree.
Oh, I love it when you disagree.
I disagree. I don't know why I disagree. I just feel like Rockstar. I just disagree. There's no, I can't explain it. I mean, I guess I could if I took 20 minutes trying to explain why I disagree, but at the end of the day, I think it may not transcend generations. Okay. At least not right out of the gate. Maybe Grand Theft Auto 6.
No, obviously. Okay. Well, this is why I think it will transcend generations. You don't know how to explain it. I'm going to explain my side of the argument.
Go for it.
So they promised to, you know, that it's a persistent world. They will produce content, you know, new content from Rockstar. And, you know, they know that this generation's almost over. Yeah, why would they make this promise of we're going to have new content coming, you know, when they know people are going to want to transition to that next gen as soon as they financially can, or, you know, whatever happens.
And you can't discount the install base of this generation.
No, I don't discount it at all. But also, they made it two separate entities. All right.
That's the piece that makes me on the fence.
That's a strange move. And like, why would they clearly come out and say, we consider, this is the actual statement. We consider them two separate entities when they know that I'm saying they know that Grand Theft Auto 5 will be an Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 generation thing. And then, you know, the online version will transfer to the next gen. And I'm telling you, in the same way that Call of Duty says, hey, you can take all of your profile stuff and your you know, your status and everything over to the next gen. If you play, you know, on this gen, I feel like I'm going in circles saying that next gen, this gen. It's like getting confusing.
Here's I guess in short, this is what I think, that why I don't think it's going to transcend generations. And look, maybe partially I'm just playing devil's advocate just to be on the opposite side of what you're saying. But in the same sense, like, you think in that trailer they might have announced that?
No.
I don't see why they wouldn't have. Right. So they're not gaining any money.
Okay.
Because right out of the gate, the person who buys the retail version is getting it for free. Most people right out of the gate are going to buy the retail version. You're not going to start seeing like actual used sales start to take effect to your multiplayer until the next generation is going to be out anyway. So that multiplayer, like if you buy the retail version, you're going to get the multiplayer, you're going to have to pay for it on the next gen, or is it going to transfer? Like, just so many questions that I think they would have answered in the trailer if it was coming out next. I
think Rockstar is notorious for playing it close to their chest, for saying
you're right.
we're not going to give you everything right now. We're going to give you enough to go, oh my God, do we want more right now?
You're right about Rockstar playing it close to the chest.
Yeah, that's something they're notorious for. And they're setting this whole thing up. You're saying you don't know, but I need better from you. I need better from you for this, because they're setting this whole thing up.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. Let's just call it that. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I think they would have given us more. I think that it doesn't make sense for them to give it to us on the next gen. Maybe it does. Maybe it does to them. Maybe it's worth it. But I gotta stay with the idea that it's just going to be on this gen. It's a this gen game. Go for it.
Don't you think that GTA Online is a gold mine for Rockstar in the form of microtransactions? Could be just the same gold mine on this generation. I mean, you still got to consider there's 70 million, almost 70 million of each console. Yeah, it definitely will be on this generation, but my point is the next gen. Why would they just say, you know what? We're not going to put it on the next gen. Not going to put this online thing on the next gen. We're just going to leave that money on the table.
Hey, we'll see who's right in the end. I mean, that's all we can do. We can argue it all day, but we'll never know until they tell us.
I'm just saying, think about it.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
To the people right now. I'm telling them, think about it.
Think about it. Tweet at us and tell us what you think.
Tweet at him and tell him what you think about me being right.
So speaking on the next generation. So last episode, we talked about Xbox One is closing down some of their regions and they're only going to deliver the 13 markets. And we talked about how we thought it was because they wanted to stack the markets that are, definitely going to potentially run out of consoles and beat the PlayStation, in availability of the next gen of consoles. But they're saying that it's because the voice control features in some countries don't work yet. They're still working on getting, German and other, yeah. The Kinect and all that stuff, the Kinect that's in the box is not going to work in some countries yet, allegedly. I really got to stick to my first thing. I think this is a cop out. They don't want to.
It's a real good possibility they may be telling the truth, because we talked about this before when they came out and had the DRM, issue and all this stuff. They just came out and they were completely honest with gamers and the people who may be buying this thing. So I think that maybe they may be telling the truth.
You got to think, like, we're sitting here in the United States. We're definitely going to get it. And
there's
a lot of countries. Yeah, there's a lot of countries. So they were 21 countries down to 13, almost in half. And they basically, they pissed off a lot of countries. So what do? Do you tell them the truth? Like, well, basically we said, fuck you. We're going to stack the U.S.
I don't know, man. That's
you can't tell them the truth. You can't tell them the truth. So what you got to do is you got to say, well, and maybe it's true for some of those situations, right? Maybe it's true for, 5 out of the countries that they cut. And so they use that as the cop out for all the countries. Like, oh, we're just not ready. That we cut it down in markets because we're not ready. I think that they still want to stack the market.
Wait, so rewind a minute. What's the reason with the functionality on the Kinect? Or what's the problem?
Well, there's so many different languages that they cut out all those countries because they're not ready. Like the voice control and, all the Kinect features aren't ready. So they cut them back and they're going to, stagger the launch worldwide. So I think maybe that's right for a few countries, and they're using that as the cop out for all the countries they cut out on, so they can still stack that market and beat PlayStation.
I like that. That's a good point.
I think maybe it's true to an extent. That's all I'm saying. So what else do they want to do to beat PlayStation? Now it's a rumor. It's a rumor coming off of Walmart that they're going to release November 8th.
Right.
PlayStation has officially announced November 15th.
Mm-hmm.
That week. Is that a difference? Is it, you think? I mean, do you think at this point, here's the question I want to pose to you and the listener, and tweet at us if if you care. The question I want to pose is, do you think that week will make a difference? Or do you think that today people have already made their decision?
Assuming Microsoft launches the Xbox One on the 8th.
Yeah, assuming that the rumor is right. And it's an extremely credible source. But the Walmart website, or the Walmart leak did say it was tentative date, but maybe Xbox threw that in there just to kind of wait out and see.
I'm going to think about this later.
PlayStation was going to do.
Think about this later and probably have a different answer, but I'm going to say yes, in a very small way, it does matter. For the people who will, here's the thing though, the world we live in now is so pre-order heavy that, most of the people that are getting these consoles, the first week here, they've already got it. They know what they're getting. You know, and didn't you kind of know that both of them would launch in November when Microsoft said November? You knew Sony was coming in November or possibly earlier than November.
I mean, we were all crossing our fingers for October.
Yeah.
I mean, really. We were like, man, beat them to it. You know, I wanted, really and truly, I kind of want to see PlayStation beat Xbox to the punch because, I mean, the competition's great for the business.
Right, it is. Very
I want to
good.
see everybody, I want to see them just duke it out because that means they got to be better. Each one of them has to be better. I mean, PlayStation's iterating on things that Xbox has done and vice versa. They're working off at what each other is working better at. And, yeah.
In the same way, I'm interested just to see the fight go down. I mean, I could care less who takes the lead. I know what I'm going to get. You know what I mean? It's just.
Wait. What are you going to get? Because you've said openly on the podcast, you don't even know if you even want to take the step into the next generation.
Here's the thing. I'm going to go with the Xbox One. And we don't have to get into this right now, but I don't know if you realize this, but I was really excited about Titanfall when I seen it initially.
Yes, sir.
And if you've seen all of the people who have played it at Gamescom's reactions, it's been spectacular. Yes. Like it's been the highest of praise for this game. And, you know, and I'm already embedded in the Xbox ecosystem, which I guess is kind of a cop out, but, I really like the HDMI pass through. I think that people don't really understand that yet, but they will soon enough.
I understand it personally. I understand it, but I don't give a shit about it because I play in here.
Right. Which a lot of people are in that situation, but I keep mine in the front room, you know what I mean? In the family room area. And it's going to be freaking sweet, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me want to get a second one. You know, but at that point, like I gotta get the PlayStation. I gotta get the PlayStation before I get a second Xbox.
Let's make another prediction. My prediction is, and you know, you may get a PlayStation before you get a second one, but I'm going to predict here on the podcast, put it, you know, etch it in stone here, that when you realize what the HDMI pass-through technology can do and how it can improve your TV situation, you will put one in your living room. That's it.
So you're predicting that.
Let's bet $5,000.
That type of money, I would just buy a PlayStation and then take your money and then buy the Xbox.
Okay,
with
my
the
bad.
money.
No, I didn't think that through. No bet.
That's a horrible bet. No. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I just don't. I
sidetracked this. What were we talking about?
We're talking about the Xbox One and the launch. We're talking about the launch mattering to people.
But let me say this before we get off the fact that I've stated I didn't know what I was going to do. In all seriousness, watching that Grand Theft Auto 5 trailer and seeing what that game is capable of, I mean, it really makes me reconsider this idea of jumping into next gen so quick.
Well, you don't have to leap into it. You could just put your foot into it. I mean, if you can afford it, just check it out.
But like, I'm a gamer, man, and I like new shit. Like, I like toys. You know what I mean? Gadgets. I'm a man, like gadgets. And, you know, we do this podcast. So it's like, I almost have like an obligation personally to myself to just get a next gen console when they come out. I do a little bit, like to myself.
It is what it is.
I'm struggling with it.
It is what it is, sir.
Plus, I'm balling, son.
So another rumor coming out of Xbox camp is that they may do a digital. How did I put it on here? Microsoft may let you resell your digital downloads.
Well, that was a feature they announced before the DRM situation went 180 style. Huh?
It wasn't a feature they announced. It was something. It was a rumor back then. It's still kind of. It's not. This isn't even really a rumor. This is kind of like in the talks,
right,
of doing it. So basically, on the Xbox ecosystem, and maybe my PlayStation will adopt the same thing. They haven't talked about it yet because they're in the victory camp and they're just staying in there. They don't want to talk about shit.
Yeah, well, they took a couple jabs at
they were brutal, man. They were rough.
Don't you think that's a little?
I think it's a little childish, to be honest with you. From a company standpoint,
I don't want to use the word childish.
I used it.
Just seems
it's done. I used it.
I'm just saying I wouldn't use that word.
I used it. Now you gotta use it.
It just seems a little, it looks bad on them. You know what I mean? To me,
same difference.
I mean, but you know, at the same time, there's probably people like, yeah, kick Microsoft in the dick. Fuck up.
So anyway, what do you think about that? I mean, we talk about used games on here. We talk about, you know, reselling your game to GameStop and all that. But what do you think about the digital resale? So basically,
what do we know about how it would work?
So my guess is a digital resale. If I buy a game on then download the game and put it on my hard drive, and basically I've bought.
You sell it back to Microsoft?
I bought the rights to the game, and I downloaded the content that I have the rights to. Now, if I sell the rights back to back to Microsoft, I no longer have rights to use that game. So I sell the rights back to Microsoft.
Wait, so
or I sell it back to the developer. I don't know.
I hope it would be the developer, because then that would mean Microsoft would essentially turn into GameStop, and I hate GameStop for this used game nonsense.
Yeah. I don't think that the developers would allow Microsoft to.
Yeah, that would be stupid. They would just be trading GameStop for Microsoft.
I'll tell you this: if the developers do benefit from this, number one, this is huge for the developers. This is big.
Right.
They need this push in the right direction. I mean, look at what Grand Theft Auto is doing. They could have put that in the box, but they're not, because probably, at least partially, because of the used game problem.
Wait, so you could essentially like deactivate your version of the
Exactly,
game.
because you're just paying for, rights, a license to it.
Like, what you think they would give you, like 33%
Whatever
of
it is.
what, they wouldn't give you much, but they give you something probably.
Whatever it is, you got a whole bunch of hard drive space that you need to free up, and you don't play.
How does that?
You don't
think
play
about
like
this.
5 or 10 games anymore.
Let's think about this though. How does that benefit the developer? If they have to give you money back for something that
because they can turn around and sell it again.
But they're not turning around selling anything.
It's weird.
You understand what I'm saying?
Like, I get that.
It's not like
physical.
It's not a physical copy that somebody else could get and then sell and then resell it and basically take money out of their pocket because the developer says, "Hey, we could have resold that copy."
But on the flip side of that, you may.
That seems like it might be a bad idea, dude.
It's weird.
It's a strange
idea. Because you're not
idea.
actually buying anything. You're buying a license, and that license they could just
right. Wouldn't it make
it's
more
like
sense?
printing money. Just give license and license and license. You just keep doing it. But at the same time, you have to think about the idea that why do people even bring their used games in to begin with? Simply because you want to buy something else, and maybe you can't afford it, or maybe it's beneficial for you to relinquish the games that you have so you can get something else. That benefits the developers again.
It does benefit the developers, but wouldn't you think if that was the case, if they were saying, well, usually when somebody gets rid of something, they're trying to get something else. Wouldn't it be like, okay, so if you trade in, a EA game, we'll give you so much credit towards another EA purchase.
They can do that.
That seems like that would be the system. It doesn't make any sense if they were saying, we'll just give you money when you're done with the game. We'll give you a little bit of money back. Like, that seems like, investors would be like, no, we're not just going to give them money back. That's ridiculous. We didn't even give them anything in the first place.
I don't know. It's a weird concept to think about a digital sellback store, because you really didn't buy anything and they could just give away licenses for forever.
I love the idea that this is floating around though, because this physical copy, first of all, the physical copies bother me, but this idea of the used game sales from GameStop primarily, just robbing developers, has been bothering me. You know what I mean? I hate the system. And, people seem to care about it. Well, people seem to care about it because it's benefiting them in that in the short term. They're like, okay, I get a little bit of cash and I can get something else here.
$9.
They're not realizing that, like, all of a sudden you love these developers that make these games and they're not making as much money as they should on this stuff they've, put their heart and soul into and that you enjoy. And so their next product isn't as good as it could have been. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So I can't wait till the GameStop antiquated, physical disc, resale thing gets kind of just phased out.
Squashed completely.
I just like the idea that this is floating around. They're trying to, you can see them trying to combat this. Yeah.
Well, they're trying to find the solutions. I think, and like we talked about on a previous episode, I gotta respect Xbox because I gotta respect Microsoft because what they're doing is they're trying to find solutions for the future. Right. The future is, and nobody can deny it, the future is download only.
I agree.
No matter where you are, the future's download only. There's a lot of inherent problems with download only especially in the ecosystem in which we work today. And one of them is, resale games. Right. Another one is, how do you use one game throughout a household of consoles? They were trying to find ways around that, and they're still doing it here today. And you got to respect them for that because they're putting a lot of effort, a lot of research, a lot of time, and a lot of money into finding those solutions for the future that is inevitable, in my humble opinion.
Well, I just hope that what they do is they give you a bit of a discount on the digital download in the future. Like, meaning if you buy a $60 game in the physical form, you get, it's like maybe $50 or $55.
I've been screaming that forever.
You're not buying a physical disc.
Well, not only that, but you're cutting out GameStop makes money on brand new game sales. Right. You're cutting out the physical disc that they have to print, the physical, everything, all
they
physical.
Have to print it, they
you're cutting out the shipping, you're cutting out everything. There's obvious cost in that. There's obvious loss in that. And when you buy it digitally, they're just sending you information.
Yeah,
That's
which I mean, I guess
available.
bandwidth, or I'm not even pretending like I know how it works. It still costs them probably a great amount of money to let people download this.
That's the thing
in
about
some kind
Steam.
of way.
That's what
but it
works.
doesn't cost them as much money as, physical discs, shipping them out to everywhere and printing up so much of them. But I don't know, man. I love the idea of a digital future, and I know that if they start giving us those discounts, then GameStop will become less powerful and they will go down.
Well, we say digital future, but digital is actually not so much the future. It's on PC. It's in the form of Steam, and it works. It works so well, mostly because it's download only. And the reason, I mean, they can give you some incredible prices because you can download it only.
Yeah,
you can't sell it back.
I've bought shit on Steam that I swear to God I've never even launched or played on my PC just because it was like, oh, this is $7.99. I'm going to buy this shit right now. I swear to you.
Yeah. As a console gamer, we're used to expensive games because of the used game market, because of the physical media that still exists. When you go to PC, from a console gamer, go to PC, you're looking at these games, you're going, holy shit, this is great prices.
Right.
Left 4 Dead 2 is like $3 on here. If I go to the store, it's $20 on the Xbox. That's it. That's
I'm looking forward to seeing that on these next consoles. It's kind of like those fire sales, it won't happen immediately, but as we get into the, get them embedded and everything, I'm looking forward to them going like, oh shit, this weekend, you can get this game for 50% off. Digitally.
Yeah. So you brought up Titanfall. Titanfall is and always has looked amazing. I've said this, people question me on it. They're like, man, you're gonna feel like a chump when it busts, and hey, maybe I will.
Right.
But I don't think it's gonna bust.
Okay, but I'm gonna say this one more time. I called this out podcasts ago. I think that this is the thing that's gonna turn into that next sensational, I hate to keep saying this, but Call of Duty type thing.
Yeah.
I think that is it.
And speaking on that Call of Duty thing, right? So they're talking about, and they being the news people who have played it and everybody coming out of Gamescom talking about, this feels like the perfect marriage of Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Wow.
Which Battlefield, and the parts that they're talking about, the pieces that they're talking about is the fluid gameplay, like the action-packed fluid gameplay from Call of Duty with those perfect controls and just things that make sense with the depth and in-game variety and team play type of thing, team camaraderie and making you want to play as a team that Battlefield has, and marriage, putting those together in a perfect marriage and making it, and that's Titanfall.
Just hearing you say that makes the gamer side of me just lose my fucking mind. That sounds amazing. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
So I watched the interview, that was obviously on the web and they were talking about they talk about how it's just an adrenaline packed variety of gameplay. It's just, it's people are walking away from this game, from this demo, shaking with adrenaline. They're just walking away just like, holy shit.
Everyone, man.
It's almost a sensory overload. Like, there's so much going on. And that's what, we're ready for that, I think. As gamers, we're ready for this.
Well, it's almost like you hear these, the video game journalists from all these prominent websites saying, this is the thing that made me realize, like, oh shit, we're in next gen. Like, this is next gen right now.
And I still don't think the graphics look so next gen.
Yeah, but you haven't seen it.
No, I mean, they're still in pre-alpha. Today, they're still in pre-alpha, which really makes you... Yeah. Well, I mean, again, spring 2014, there's time.
But man, it looks good for pre-alpha. Like, just in the small stuff I've seen.
It's playing that good in pre-alpha.
Yeah.
Like, they're still making dramatic changes. I mean, in the interview that I'm talking about, they were talking about how they loaded up the E3 build. The gentleman who was talking in the interview loaded up the E3 build, and he was like, man, this is a whole different game almost than what we're playing today. Wow. They're still making dramatic changes, dramatic adjustments to make the game and the gameplay just as fluid and perfect. And I mean, I really think that this is, like I said before, this is going to pull some shares out of Call of Duty's camp. It's not going to be the Call of Duty killer, especially not the first run out. It just can't do it. Nobody can do it their first time out.
I'm saying that this is the Call of Duty killer.
Say that all you want. You know you're wrong.
I'm just going to say it.
It's not going to kill Call of Duty, but it's going to pull something away from Call of Duty.
It's totally ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous for me to say that this is the Call of Duty killer. Like, Call of Duty is a monster in itself. But I don't know, man. It's hard to believe that people have been, like, what else in pop culture has remained this dominant like Call of Duty for this long? rarely do you see something do that. Like, people get tired of shit real easy.
Yeah.
You know, so I give Call of Duty its props for that, but I think that this is the Call of Duty killer in the long
future.
term.
That's what I've been saying. It's the call, maybe
fair?
not the killer, but it's the run for the money.
I feel like I copped out because I want to say this is the Call of Duty killer, but then I'm kind of saying in the long term. Like,
I'm just saying what makes sense. I mean, look, I think that it's the Call of Duty challenger. Can I put it that way? Does that make sense?
No, say it's the killer.
No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I love Call of Duty. I'm stupid excited for Ghost. Stupid excited for Ghost. And
anything new about that? Come through the wire?
The biggest thing about this is that I've been saying it for a long time, and I don't know why this is news. Like, for some reason, I felt so confident about this, and I think it was in an interview, and maybe people overlooked it. I mean, I dug hard when I saw Call of Duty Ghost come out, the reveal trailer, and all of these things. I dug for news. I was looking for everything I saw, and for some reason, I was confident that everybody knew that this game and everything on Xbox was going to be dedicated servers. And I don't know why this seems like news, but on the Xbox One, Call of Duty Ghost will be on dedicated servers. Now, what this means, as I rub my hands
it's fair
together,
to say, and the PC too.
Okay, PC's been dedicated servers since Black Ops 1, maybe?
Oh, really? I'm sorry.
Or
I
at
totally
least
didn't
Modern
even
Warfare
know
3.
that.
Modern Warfare 3 for sure. Black Ops 1, maybe. Dedicated servers is huge for this game. I mean, number one, that's a lot of servers, my dude. That is a lot of servers to dedicate.
What did Microsoft say their servers amount would be? They have like a server farm that's on some ridiculousness.
It's on some crack. What it's on.
Is it 300,000?
I think so. I think the number it started with 3.
You know how big of a building you need for a server farm?
Well,
like that?
It's not just one server farm. They're going to spread them out. So, but yeah, they're increasing it. I think the number was tenfold. So if it's 30,000, yeah, it's going to be 300,000.
Jesus.
And those servers, I believe those servers will be running the Call of Duty. And it's, what this means for us at Call of Duty players is it means so much. It really does.
Well, how much does that affect PlayStation, fanboys? Man. Damn it. I didn't want to say fanboys. How much does that, when this came out,
and you said it.
If you love PlayStation, we love you too.
I love PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, PlayStation's fine.
Look, I've been a PlayStation fanboy for years.
Dude, what was I even saying just now? Oh, how much does this affect? Like, when people heard this news recently, it was confirmed. How many PlayStation people went, well, I'm going to Xbox One?
I'm going to bet you that Call of Duty has a profound effect on people's decision making when it comes to,
Right, because how many people have a console and they just pretty much play Call of Duty?
It's their Call of Duty
Like,
machine.
they play other shit, obviously, because it's out there, but, like, for the most part, they're just, they're playing Call of Duty.
I mean, I think in this generation, you're going to get a lot of people who just stick with this generation, like stick with the Xbox, because it's coming out on both. It's coming on all 4 consoles.
Yeah.
So I think for the person who it's just a COD machine, like they're just going to play it on Xbox 360.
What I'm saying is, if that person's on PlayStation 3 right now and they're like, I love PlayStation 4, it looks awesome. How many of those people do you think went, all right, I'm going to go Xbox One now?
Well, I think there's more contributing factors to just the dedicated service. So you got the month early on the DLC.
That's right.
You got the month early on Battlefield. What you Call of Duty player, a lot of them are at least in the smallest amount interested in Battlefield.
Right.
And then you got Titanfall. All 3 things have some type of exclusive content and Titanfall being an exclusive game for Xbox One. Those 3 things are really going to drive the Xbox One sales. But you got to remember, that's $100 jump. That's a big deal to people. But dedicated servers on the Xbox One for Ghost, that is going to be, I mean, that's huge. So we've been dealing with what's called lag compensation.
Yeah.
I have a huge problem with lag compensation because it's not real world.
Dude, I have beast internet, and when I play Call of Duty, I feel like I get host way more than other people. Like, I get it a lot.
And the problem is, when you get host, it's terrible.
It's fucking terrible.
What happened to the days when, like, yes, I pulled host? Motherfucker, I'm like, man, I got host. This is about to suck.
Oh, man.
Because you got some kid on his little easy bake oven fucking stolen his neighbor's internet who's got 3 megabyte download DSL on some Wi-Fi that's across the house. And he's got 2 bars on the Wi-Fi. Like, he's going to get a better connection than me.
He's raping you is what's happening.
Well, that's what drives me nuts. What drives me insane is that's not real world. If I pay for good internet and I have access to good internet, I should get a good connection to the game. I mean, it's like saying that, well, I bought a Toyota, but now I get to drive a Lexus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not real world.
It's well, the servers, dedicated servers will change all of that. They'll change all of
Exactly.
that.
That's why it's so big. That's why it's so huge for all of us people who care. So dedicated servers, you got DSL, like it's not going to matter because you're just connected to the server. You have your own connection.
Yeah, you
so
pipe
whatever you connect, however bad your internet is should only affect you. Now, if they keep lag compensation, that's going to be a little different because the lag compensation is going to affect us in a similar manner, not quite as bad because then you got lag on top of lag comp. You know what I mean?
Well,
Then you'll have at dedicated servers, like if my ping runs at 30 milliseconds to that server, then I'll get 30 milliseconds of ping all day, every day.
yeah, that's the important part. You got to make sure whatever server hopefully they let you kind of choose the region or where what server you're connecting to in some kind of way. Cause if you have to connect to a server that's way away from you, that's going to affect your connection to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like Battlefield 3 does this thing where it's kind of like they separate it into like a east, central, and west, server.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can get the ones that's closer to you.
And if you want to play with your friends or somewhere else, like you just deal with it.
Right, yeah. But it's dedicated, so it's not...
It's not even close to as bad as Call of Duty is.
Right.
And I mean, I could only imagine like what Call of Duty would have been for these past couple years had they had dedicated servers, had they had a system like this in place that didn't just rape you all day. Like, I swear to God, I could record so much and just show you how a sniper shot, if I take a sniper shot dead on a motherfucker's chest and it doesn't even produce a hit marker, it just whiffs. Like a big puff of air come out the gun, and it's all day, every day. It's a nightmare. And, every once in a while, you'll get that good connection, and that's when I'll maybe be able to produce a gameplay. It's like that 6v6 is the only way to play. And in league plays, really, is 4v4, which makes it even better because you got less people dragging down the lag comp.
It's really, like, insulting that they didn't do it for Black Ops 2, at least. That they didn't go dedicated servers. One of Swords, the community manager for Activision, what's his name? Dan Amrich. You know who that is? He's the Activision community manager. Okay. He said that the reason that they didn't go dedicated servers for, on the consoles for these past couple Call of Duty iterations is because it just costs too much money.
Oh yeah, because they don't have any of that.
Yeah, which, look, I know that it's going to cost them like a lot of money, but it's also like fan service. Like, you know how important that is to people like you and like people who have given them money every year to play this game?
Yeah.
And plus, all your DLC that you're buying and everything. And a lot of these people bought it on 2 consoles.
Me,
and like,
me.
You know what I'm saying? They bought the Elite Edition or whatever.
Me.
It doesn't cost that much money. Like Battlefield did it, and they don't make anywhere near the amount of money these past Call of Duties have.
That's what pisses me off.
But they also don't have the player base, though. Call of Duty has a ridiculous amount of players. So I don't know. It's just...
what's important is moving into the future. They're doing it in the future, and at least on the Xbox One so far. Maybe they're going to do it on PlayStation. I hope for the PlayStation gamer that they do. I really do. I genuinely hope that they do. But at least for the Xbox One, we're getting those dedicated servers, and it's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
It's going to change fucking everything. I mean, I'm being serious with you right now, Doug. It's going to change everything that we know about Call of Duty and connection base. And it's so important. So important.
It makes me more excited to play it, as somebody who isn't as hardcore as the most of them about Call of Duty. It excites me.
It's so big. It's so huge. And it's just important. I mean, it's about time, unfortunately. So moving on to the last piece of news that we have for this week. It's not news. It's just interesting, is that the Xbox One will be giving, or Microsoft will be giving their employees a white Xbox. I would like one.
It looks pretty sweet.
I would love one.
I don't know how the white affects it, but it looks smaller in white. Did you see that? Did you notice that? It looked a little sleeker, a little smaller in white.
It looked about the same to me.
Well, maybe.
It might be. You probably are. No, I mean, it looks cool, and look, it may become available to the public later. But I think it's kind of cool.
It will.
You think?
Yeah, dude, I've bought so many Xbox consoles. It throughout, from being like an early adopter when they first came out and buying the white systems and then the Elite systems when they went flat black and then, the slim consoles. I bought a couple of them.
How many red ringed? Everybody forgets about the red ring.
Red ring for me, and from the beginning, I've had 3 of them red ring.
Damn.
Yeah, but really, look,
I mean, like you say, how quickly we forget.
How quickly we forget. But it's fair to state that not that I'm defending them on the red ring thing, but the reason that these consoles were red ringing is people were sticking them like in places that were like enclosed, and it just couldn't breathe.
No, man, my buddy had one that red ringed, and it bitch was he knew about the red ring problem, right? So he knew about it. So he made sure it was upright in an open area, like away from the TV, and he had the fan going. It was not hot in this house ever, and that bitch still red ringed. Like,
Only time I've ever had one red ring is when I had it like in the entertainment like center, when it's in that little cubby hole. You know what I mean?
Look, it was just a problem with the console. He played Gears and it would ring and freeze on him. He'd reset the console, he could play for a couple more minutes and it would red ring on him. And I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, look, PlayStation got completely hacked. Entire network.
Yeah, but I will say Xbox totally gave me a free console when a refurbished one, but they replaced my console when it red rang. But like, the point is, you're going to see a white Xbox One eventually because they're going to encourage you to buy a new system, and then they'll come out with a different design of it in a couple years that looks a little different. That's just how they work. That's how they make money. I don't blame them. So,
I won't be buying more. Like, I'm gonna have my one. It is what it is. I'm at my regular one. I mean, I know some people who still have their 20 gigabyte PlayStation,
Yeah. Oh, well, I heard that those fat PlayStations kind of are at the point where they're all dying off.
Yeah, they starting to yellow light to death.
But I mean, what is that? Like almost 10 years? 8 years? 7 years?
7 years. 7 years. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. This has been Startup X Podcast, episode 45.
45.
Thanks again for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Sean_Zulu on Twitter.
Thank you.
You can follow me. I'm at 2SickTV. Thank you guys for joining us out. This is Startup X Game and News Podcast, powered by
Wait, fuck this up again.
TeamCaliber.com. And we're out. Peace. And make sure you say the underscore. I think that's your calling. Do it every time. Every week. Yeah. Don't forget the underscore. I want to hear that every week because I think that's your little calling. I think people are going to I know about the fucking underscore eventually.
It's just that I hate the fact that, I tried to get people on Twitter to fucking hit the dude up with Sean Zulu no underscore and say, yo, tell this motherfucker to give me my Twitter name. And like fucking one person tweeted at him.
Let's try it on here.
I don't think he's active. I think he's just dead. Like he has no tweets for
Let's stalk him and find him, and we'll kill him and take his phone and take his Twitter account.
I'm good with that because
this is good podcasting. We got to save this shit. Let's just get started. You ready?
Wait, I'm good with that because he's a white dude, and white people aren't that scary.
And what if he was Asian?
I'd be a little bit scared. You ever seen that movie?
Jackie Chan.
You ever seen Rumble in the Bronx?
That's China.
They fight.
Oh my God.